Hey, and welcome to another SCG Tour Spotlight. I'm Merriam, and I guess it is Jeff Hoagland week here on StarCityGames.com because I have yet another Hoagland creation here for you today. This is the Abzan Seasons Past list that Jeff innovated and took to a third place finish at the SCG Tour stop in Orlando a little while back. And really just a pretty light splash of white here. On top of the initial green-black list that we saw at the Pro Tour and a little bit afterwards, you get access to Anguished Unmaking, which is really nice in a deck like this because you're playing this really long game, and there are a lot of sort of awkward permanents, planeswalkers, which you can normally handle with the Ruinous Path, but still get with the Unmaking. But then other permanents like Evolutionary Leap, Pyromancer's Goggles, and stuff like that, that your opponent is going to have time to find, and are cards that can really take over a game if left in play, and Unmaking gives you a nice answer to all of those. You get access to Sorin, which is an incredible card advantage engine. It gives you some much-needed life gain at the top end, and Linvala, which we've seen out of Black-White Control and in the sideboards of Green-White Tokens, another great life gain card and just a huge endgame threat that you can tutor for with Dark Petition, or just naturally draw. Linvala can really help you out against a lot of the creature decks in the format. But I actually think the biggest gain from splashing white is Shambling Vent. It might seem like it's in here just to help fix the mana and enable some of the white cards, but with the deck having 8 creature lands and 4 Sylvan Advocate, it's actually probably I would say it's the main win condition of the deck. Having watched a lot of the matches that Jeff played with it, he essentially just runs both players out of resources, then ended every game with 1, 2, even 3 creature lands in play, and was even without an advocate, was able to take over with those, gain some extra life with the Shambling Events, maybe trade for their last thing with Hissing Quagmire, or just pressure them, deal to Planeswalker, start dealing them a little, some points of damage. And once you find those late game Sylvan Advocates, normally they'd just be 4/5s, but now they immediately turn all your creature lands into these huge threats. So the third color does slow you down with a lot more enters the battlefield, tapped lands. You have the 8 creature lands and 3 Evolving Wilds. But the deck's pretty slow to begin with, and you can pretty easily get away with a tapped land on turn 1, and then maybe one on turn 3 when you play just another 2-mana spell. Maybe you play one on turn 4 and play a 3-mana spell if you don't really have to languish. So the getting the 8 creature lands just gives you such flood insurance and lets you play the full 27 lands here, so that you can consistently make your land drops and turn on like Dark Petitions later in the game, so you can Dark Petition and cast whatever spell you find off of it. You can play your 6-mana spells on time. You can cast your Seasons Past and play some spells afterwards. So, but you don't have to really have that danger of flooding and not having anything to do with your lands, because you have all 8 really good mana sinks. We see the sideboard. Pretty typical, mostly the cards we've seen in the green-black list. We've got Pacifist for creature decks, another Seasons Past if we want to go long, access to some discard spells, Kalitas, Infinite Obliteration is a nice little tutor target with Dark Petition against ramp decks, and then we have our one Dragonlord Dromoka. It's just another big threat that white enables for us. So this is a deck that I'm sure a lot of you are somewhat familiar with, but hopefully we'll get to showcase the power of having so many creature lands, and we'll get to the games in just a minute.